Okay, so I'm going to continue on in section 8.2, and one thing I want to encourage you guys as you're running through these videos, not just to watch them passively, but to be an active learner. I really want you guys to be taking notes as you're going. Think of these as lectures. Okay, so maybe I haven't stressed that enough and I'm just running through these videos, but one thing I really want you to do is take notes. Hopefully you have all these steps written down. The more you work with these and the more you work with your calculators, the easier this will come. It'll start to become more second nature to find these different features in the calculator. I'm going to do a couple examples here in a moment, and I'm going to run through these steps fairly quickly without showing them. But if you have them written down, which if you want to pause it right now, if you don't have them written down, pause the tape, or pause the video, write down these steps real quick, and then you can follow along a little bit easier as I go through these problems. Okay, so you may remember last section, yeah, we did this really big example. Let me zoom out a smidge here. Whoop, other way. We did this example with a system of equations using elimination. This is my page from a prior video. It was a system with 3 equations and 3 variables, and at the very end we got some ugly fractions here. And I almost hesitated to write these fractions out because I wasn't certain that they were the right answer, because they weren't integers, and I just assumed the answer would be integers. But after the video, I checked to make sure they were correct before I posted the video on YouTube, and they were. And the way I checked it was to use this matrix method. So what I'm going to do now is to run through that process with a bigger system, so that you can see this answer pop out. Okay, so let's start from here. So I've got this system. I'll zoom it back in. So whoa, there we go. Maybe a little bit more. Okay, so now what I want to do is basically show you on the calculator how to enter this, but then also show you what kind of work I'd be looking for on a test. So to do this with a matrix, I'm just going to first write out the initial matrix, which is just the coefficients and constants from the variables here, going row by row. -2, 2, 1, -7, and then 3, -4, -3, and 7. There's my augmented matrix. Now the reduced row echelon form will be coming in a moment. So the next step will be done after the calculator. So let me put the calculator on the screen, and we'll just run through the process here. Alright, so again, we're going to start. We go to our matrix menu, second the X inverse button, go over to edit, and I'm going to edit matrix A. Now you could store a lot of different matrices in here, so you don't have to use A every time. Just make sure that you're consistent throughout the problem with whatever matrix you're using. I'm going to use matrix A. Now this matrix, if you look, is going to have 3 rows and 4 columns. So we're going to go 3 by 4, again row by column, and then we just enter the numbers in row by row. So it's 2, 1, -3, 0, -2, 2, 1, -7, and I'm hitting enter to pop to the next number each time. There, and I've got them all typed in, so there's my matrix. Then I'm going to quit. Once it's all entered, I go back to the home screen, and here's where we make our calculation. We go back to the matrix menu, over to math, find the RREF, whoop, passed it right there, hit enter, and then you've got to tell the calculator what matrix to reduce. So you go back into matrix again. Under names, you just hit the first entry there at matrix A, close your parenthesis, hit enter, and there it is. Now that's ugly. Check that out. I've got some decimals here. Remember I said that the final answer was a bunch of fractions, but I've got decimals. And that's just because your calculator naturally goes to decimals first. But you can tell the calculator to use fractions just the normal way. If you hit the math button and the fraction option here, it will turn that answer into fractions. And that is absolutely not the answer that I got before. Interesting. Now I'm stuck. Okay, so hang on a second. Look at that. It's very fascinating. That is not that. So what did I do? I'm going to assume I made a mistake somewhere. So I'm going to go back to my matrix menu, over to edit, and let's see. Probably I just typed this in too fast. 2, 1, -3, 0. That's good. -2, 2. Aha! Right there's the culprit. That number, if you're following along, should have been a 1, and I put a 0 there. Very simple mistake, huh? I was rushing through that. Everything else looks to be correct. And so let's repeat the process. Let's go second matrix, over to edit. Not over to edit, I just did edit. Let's go to math. Grab the RREF again. Let's go down to matrix, names, parenthesis, enter. Okay, now those are also decimals again. Hopefully it's the correct decimals this time. We'll find out when we hit math and then fraction, and that's more like it. Okay, those are the numbers that we should have gotten the first time around. There they are. Right, 56 over 13, -7 over 13, 35 over 13. I would love to tell you I made that mistake on purpose so you could see how to fix it. I didn't. But it's good to keep that in the video probably because you know, those are the types of things that you got to be careful of. Little details can go a long way. Okay, so anyway, that is the answer. However, I'm not quite done. I've got to write this out. I've got to show my work on the test, right? So I'm going to write all this out. 1, 0, 0, and then 56/13. 0, 1, 0, and -7/13. 0, 0, 1, and 35/13. And then I've got to get the final answer, which is the ordered triple in a solution set. So 56 over 13, -7 over 13, 35 over 13, and that is our final solution. These three items are what I would expect to see on a test if you use the calculator matrix.